On my birthday, Ethan proposed to me, but the moment he pulled out the ring, Chloe snatched it from his hands and slipped it onto her own finger. Ethan just smiled, looking at her with absolute adoration. Chloe is always so playful. The room went dead silent. Everyone was waiting for my reaction, the actual girlfriend. They expected a screaming match, a hair-pulling reality TV catfight. Instead, I casually popped a party popper. As confetti rained down on them, I smiled and offered my congratulations. A match made in heaven. I wish you both a lifetime of happiness. Ethan stared at me through the falling confetti. Chloe happily wrapped her arms around his neck, acting like a spoiled child. I love this ring. I want it. It was as if Ethan had suddenly snapped out of a trance. He finally seemed to remember that this was my birthday party. He pulled Chloe's hands off his neck and nervously tried to explain. Chloe's just messing around. The guests were all mutual friends of mine and Ethan's. They quickly tried to laugh it off and ease the tension. Tonight's your special night. Don't let irrelevant people ruin your mood. Irrelevant? I looked at Chloe standing shoulder to shoulder with Ethan. They were childhood sweethearts. The golden boy and the perfect girl. She raised her hand, deliberately showing off the ring on her middle finger. The fit was absolutely perfect. It was a silent declaration. I was the irrelevant one here. I raised an eyebrow, locking eyes with Ethan. Since the ring is already on, shouldn't you guys head straight to the honeymoon suite? Ethan's face instantly darkened. He took a long stride toward me. Mia, Chloe was just curious and wanted to try it on. Could you please be a little more generous? We grew up together. She's practically still a child at heart. Are you seriously going to hold a grudge against a kid? The expressions on everyone's faces turned painfully awkward. Chloe wasn't 6. She wasn't 16. She was a 26-year-old woman. Calling her a child implied everyone else in the room was blind. Chloe slid the ring off her finger. Ethan, how could you say that to Mia? She's not holding a grudge against me. Mia, here's your ring back. Happy birthday. She casually tossed the ring toward me. The small, diamond-encrusted band hit the floor and rolled, stopping right at the toe of my shoe. The atmosphere in the room turned suffocatingly weird. The entire situation was baffling. I was the one who had just been deeply humiliated, yet Ethan was fiercely protecting Chloe, even yelling at me in front of all our friends. Ethan glared at me, his eyes icy, trying to intimidate me into submission. It felt like a bucket of freezing water had been dumped over my head. I was instantly, terrifyingly sober. In the past, a situation like this would have made me lose my mind. I would have launched myself at Chloe and torn her apart. I would have had a screaming match with Ethan, leading to a massive Cold War. Then, he would use that as a perfectly valid excuse to disappear for days, completely ignoring my calls and texts, until I finally swallowed my pride, apologized, and begged him to come back. That was how he had systematically trained me over the years. I had bowed my head so many times that he no longer even factored my feelings into his decisions. After all, in a relationship, whoever falls first, loses. Ethan and Chloe grew up in the same affluent, tight-knit neighborhood. Chloe was naturally chaotic and loved causing trouble. But in Ethan's eyes, she was as pure and innocent as a child. He willingly, tirelessly cleaned up every single one of her messes. During college, even though they never officially announced they were dating, everyone assumed they were a package deal. So, when Ethan suddenly showed up with a massive bouquet of red roses and asked me to be his girlfriend, I was completely stunned. I thought it was a prank, a dare from a frat party, or maybe I was just hallucinating, but I was so desperately in love with Ethan that even if it was a dream, I was more than willing to dive in, and reality seemed to reward my devotion. Ethan actually became my boyfriend. I got to hold his hand secretly under the table in the library. We went on dates to cute coffee shops. On every major holiday, I got to spend it with him, but there was a catch. I had